What's going on? It's Benjamin, back with another video. And I just want to say, keep watching this video because in about 4 minutes, you might make one of the most important, one of the most foundational steps that you could make towards living a happier and more fulfilled life. Roll the intro clip. A lot of people struggle with guilt. That's just the way it goes. A lot of people struggle with guilt. You might be one of those people, and if you are, I have good news for you. You are not alone. The Bible is riddled with stories of people who struggle with guilt. We're talking about Abraham. We're talking about King David. We're talking about even King Saul at one point. How about New Testament example, Peter? We're talking about Peter, the disciple of Jesus, who denied him 3 times on the night of his crucifixion and was so overcome with guilt because of what he had done. But if you do struggle with guilt, I have good news for you. The Bible also offers you a way to live a life that is free from the feeling of guilt and free from the shame of things that you have done in the past. One particular example, David. He writes about his guilt. David talks about his guilt in Psalms 32 verse 3. And what he says offers us an insight into the way that we can live life guilt-free. In Psalms 32 verse 3 he says, "When I kept silent, my bones wasted away within me through my groaning all day long." In verse 4 he continues, "For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer." And see, what he is describing here is very much the typical symptoms of guilt. It's like, I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm experiencing guilt, I literally feel as though my bones are wasting away within me. I feel as though my strength is being sapped, like in the heat when you're standing outside. It gets really hot where I live, and at the moment, outside, right now, it is like 35 degrees. It's about 35 degrees outside right now where I live. If I were to go stand out there, I would literally feel as though my strength is just being sapped from me. And that's the way that it feels when you're experiencing guilt. That's exactly what David is describing here, the feeling of guilt. But then the next verse, verse 5. Psalms 32 verse 5 offers us a solution. "Then I acknowledged my sin to you, and I did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my sin to the Lord." And then this is what he says, "And you forgave me the guilt of my sin." One of the first and easiest ways to live a life that is free from guilt, free from shame, is not to hide it. Not to push it down into some dark corner somewhere and just pretend that it doesn't exist, because it will eat you up from the inside. No, David said that while he was keeping his sin hidden from God, it was eating him up. It was sapping the strength from his bodies. His bones were wasting away from within me. But when he acknowledged his sin, then he found forgiveness and he was set free. The problem is that a lot of us have a very kind of warped view of God, and we think that if we acknowledge our sin to him, we think that he's a God that wants to punish us. He's a God that wants to find us making a mistake and then just offer vengeance upon us. But the Bible doesn't teach that. In Psalms 103 verse 10 to 12 it says, "He does not treat us according to our sin, or does not repay us according to our iniquity. Instead it says, as high as the heaven is above the earth, so great is his love for us." And then it says this, "As far as the east is from the west." As far as the east is from the west. That's how far he has removed our sin from us. And so, I want to encourage you today that if you do struggle with guilt, if you struggle with shame over things that you've done in the past, I want to encourage you, because you don't have to feel that way anymore. those things that you did in the past can truly be the past. They can truly not have an impact on your life, on the way that you feel anymore. Because as soon as you confess your sin to God, as soon as you say, God, I stuffed up and I need forgiveness, He will remove your sin from you as far as the east is from the west. And so I want to encourage you today to make the first most foundational step that you can make towards living a life that is more fulfilling, a life that is happier. Accept God's forgiveness today. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you think that a friend would be inspired by what we've talked about today, feel free to share it with them. And I will see you tomorrow for another video. Over and out. That, my friends, is very, 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 very far.